Imagine stumbling upon a village, perfectly preserved, yet utterly empty. No signs of struggle, no notes left behind, just silence. What could make an entire community vanish without a trace? Today, we're journeying into the heart of one of history's most chilling and unsolved mysteries. The deserted villages that time forgot. These aren't just ghost stories, they're real places, scattered across the globe, each with its own perplexing tale. From the windswept islands of Scotland to the sun-scorched plains of America, entire populations have disappeared, leaving behind homes, belongings, and a haunting question: where did everyone go? For centuries, historians, archaeologists, and curious minds have tried to piece together the clues, but the truth remains elusive, lost to the whispers of the wind. Let us start with a place that has baffled experts for over a century. Hoer Verde in Brazil. In the early 1920s, a group of travelers discovered this small, well-kept village. The schoolhouse blackboard still had a fresh lesson written on it. Dinner was left uneaten on tables, and there was even a gun, recently fired, leaning against a wall. But of the 600 residents, there was no one, not a single soul. They had vanished into thin air. There were no signs of an attack, no evidence of a sudden evacuation. It was as if they simply walked away from their lives and never looked back. The only clue, a chilling message scrawled on the blackboard: there is no salvation. What could this cryptic warning mean? Was it a prophecy, a threat, or a confession? Theories range from mass hysteria fueled by a charismatic cult leader to a desperate escape from local political conflict or even a paranormal event. But with no bodies and no witnesses, the fate of Hoer Verde's 600 people remains one of Brazil's most profound enigmas. Now, let's travel across the Atlantic to the remote and rugged island of St. Kilda, off the coast of Scotland. For thousands of years, a unique community thrived here, isolated from the rest of the world. They developed their own traditions, their own way of life, and a remarkable resilience to the harsh North Atlantic weather. Their society was a marvel of human adaptation. But in 1930, the impossible happened. The remaining 36 islanders, after generations of survival, collectively petitioned the government to be evacuated to the mainland. They cited failing crops, the lure of the modern world, and a dwindling population that could no longer sustain itself. But was that the whole story? Some whisper of a deeper, unspoken despair that settled over the island, a loss of will to continue their ancient way of life. The evacuation was orderly, but it marked the death of a unique culture. Today, St. Kilda is a ghost island, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Its empty stone houses standing as silent monuments to a lost community. Was it simply the inevitable march of progress, or did something more profound break the spirit of the St. Kildans? Our next stop takes us to the icy expanse of the Arctic, to a mystery that has haunted the Inuit people for generations. In 1930, a fur trapper named Joe LaBelle made a gruesome discovery near Lake Anjikuni in Canada. He knew of a thriving Inuit village in the area, a place he'd visited before. But when he arrived, he found an eerie silence. Tents were torn open from the inside, and a pot of stew was frozen solid over a long-dead fire. More disturbingly, the village's sled dogs, essential for survival in the Arctic, were found starved to death, tied to posts, despite ample food supplies being stored nearby. And in the village graveyard, ancestral tombs had been opened and empty. Of the 30 men, women, and children who lived there was no trace, no footprints leading away, no signs of a struggle. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police launched an investigation, but found nothing. Reports from the time mentioned strange lights seen in the sky around the time of the disappearance, leading to wild speculation. Was it a tragic case of starvation that led to a desperate, failed migration? Or did something far stranger happen at Lake Anjikuni? The official records are scant, and the story has become a legend, a chilling piece of northern folklore. These stories raise a fundamental question: how can a community, a living, breathing entity, just cease to exist Let's explore some of the leading theories. One common explanation is disease. In an era before modern medicine, a sudden, virulent plague could sweep through an isolated village, forcing the survivors to flee or wiping them out entirely. The Black Death in the 14th century, for example, left countless deserted medieval villages across Europe. The inhabitants either perished or fled to cities in search of safety and work, leaving their homes to crumble back into the earth. Another powerful factor is environmental change. A prolonged drought could turn fertile farmland into a dust bowl, forcing an entire population to migrate in search of water and sustenance. The story of the Anasazi in the American Southwest is a classic example. They built incredible cliff dwellings like those at Mesa Verde, but by 1300 AD, their civilization had vanished. Triggering data suggests a great drought hit the region, making agriculture impossible. The people didn't disappear. They were forced to move and assimilate into other Pueblo communities. Their homes were abandoned not because of a mystery, but out of a desperate necessity to survive. And of course, we can't ignore the human element. Conflict, war, raids, and political persecution have been depopulating villages for millennia. A brutal attack could leave a village uninhabitable, its people killed, captured, or scattered. Think of the lost colony of Roanoke. In the 1580s, over 100 English settlers vanished from their island colony in North Carolina. When a supply ship returned, they found the settlement abandoned and the single word Croatan carved into a post. The most likely theory is that they, facing starvation, chose to assimilate with a local Native American tribe, their English identity slowly fading into a new culture. It wasn't a vanishing, it was a merger, a story of survival, not mystery. But what about the cases that defy these logical explanations? The ones like Hoer Verde or Anjikuni, where the evidence just doesn't add up, where people leave behind everything they need to survive and disappear without a trace. This is where speculation ventures into the extraordinary. These tales fuel our imagination, making us wonder about the limits of our understanding. They become modern myths, cautionary tales passed down through generations, reminding us that for all our science and logic, there are still corners of our world where the questions far outnumber the answers. What do you think is the most likely reason for an entire village to disappear without a trace? Is it a forgotten plague, a secret migration, or something we can't yet explain? The silence of these empty places forces us to confront the fragility of community and the powerful, sometimes terrifying, forces that can erase it from the map. The truth is, we may never know what really happened. These villages will continue to hold their secrets, their empty streets a permanent testament to a story without an end. If you're as fascinated by these unsolved historical mysteries as I am, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We've got so many more strange and forgotten stories to uncover together. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the unknown. Stay curious.